Hello everyone, myself Madhuri, Associate Professor, Department of Law, Padmavati University. Today we'll have another topic on labor law, that is the Workmen's Compensation Act 1923. The Compensation Act specially gives you an idea of workmen was formed after it came into the notice that the laborers were becoming exposed to the danger by using more sophisticated and advanced machinery. According to this particular act, the employer would take responsibility for compensation of its workmen only some major or fatal accidents occurred on road. In 1885, the Mining and Factory Inspection realized that the Fatal Act 1885 is not sufficient for this particular act. And here the scope, if you want to talk, it is applicable, that is 1923 Compensation Act is applicable for those workers who are working with an industry that is mentioned in the particular act. Under this act, the protection of workmen from injuries and losses caused through an accident in course of an arising out of employment subjected to specified expectations as mentioned in the particular act. And this act was majorly formed to provide compensation to the workmen at the time of an accident. The act mentioned that it is duty and responsibility of an employer to include the welfare of workers when an injury is result of an employment. In the same way, the employer has reserved the right of making profits. Liability of an employer for compensation comes under workmen's compensation at the time of injury or the death suffered by the employers that the workman should be consequence of same accident in the case or out of his or employment depends upon the following conditions. The probability is based on the reason that work has contributed because of his personal injury, the accident and injury that is caused during the particular employment course. The applicant who proves that an accident or an injury occurred during the work and its result strain that is an aggravated or contributed to the injury. The caused connection between the accident and an injury whose personal injury is caused to the workman while he is she on work, and applicability of the workman's compensation comes under here across India except Jammu and Kashmir, and this act does not apply to the areas that is covered in an Employment State Insurance Act 1948. Conditions, if you want to say, the employer is not liable to pay compensation. According to this particular act, an employer has to pay the compensation to its employee when she uncounts some personal injury due to an accident that arises within the course of an employment. The employer is not liable for payment of a compensation if an injury does not result in partial or the total disablement of an employee for more than 3 days. Any injury does not result in a permanent total disability or the death because of an accident in influence of drugs or drink. If an employee meets with an accident that is caused because of willful disobedience of our rules by him or her willful safeguard removals. Calculation, if you want to make for the compensation, comes under particular act, which comes under section 4 of this particular act. In case of an accident that result in permanent total disablement, in this case an amount equal to 60% injured employee's monthly wages into the relevant facts of this particular 12 lakhs which more than is given. When an accident result in death, then amount that is equivalent to the 50% of the monthly wage of a deceased employee in it relevant factors of an or employee amount equal to this particular 12 lakhs whichever is more. So case law, if you want to look, Punjab Land Development versus Presiding Officer, that is on 1990. Workmen by employees, and at the same time section 20E state on the cases the workmen were not entitled to layoff compensation. In both the cases what is called as a compensation we can mention. And finally I would like to say the Workmen's Compensation Act 1923 was based to offer compensation to the workers who have encountered injuries due to an accident during their employment. This act ensures that the right of a particular laborer maintains even after they encounter some disability or the death due to an accident during their work. Thank you.